This is probably going to go viral, and I just wanted to say that this is my first time trying to make a video or post, by the way, and this is about the pandemic 101. The basics, probably from the beginning, from the ground up. Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Sanjay Gupta are my two heroes, along with the new CDC director. Mass General says it all, because you can tell she's passionate. She's passionate when she speaks, and I hope everyone's listening. What the CD recommends, and these are my own words, that everybody should and must get vaccinated because we're not even celebrating Easter this year. That's when our whole family gets together. The only way the CDC recommends that everyone get together without masks on is that if everyone was already fully vaccinated. So that just goes to show you one thing. It's super effective. Moderna, Pfizer, or even Johnson & Johnson. That's one time. A shield is better than nothing. And I just gotta let you know that the novel coronavirus, which means never been seen before on Earth, novel, with all these new variants, now they're saying UK, maybe it's the albino genome of a particular chromosome, with the mutations and variants, I think outside the box, it's probably something rare. And right now, the vaccines are very effective against the South African, UK, Brazilian. There's over tens of thousands of new variants here in the US already. Unfortunately, the last administration didn't have, actually I can't say that. The administration probably had a plan, but the doctors had to even speak quietly with not the right terms, like being passive in a sentence with using the word airborne, by the way. And that's right, I said it. The novel coronavirus is airborne, which means 6 feet. That's just a safe distance with a mask on. But when you wear a mask, airborne greatly diminishes, but not really, because that word doesn't mean a particular thing unless you know what it means. So it's a strong word in the medical field. I always like helping people. My dream job was to be a PA. But I don't really want to get into that right now. What I want to talk about is, first, Asian Americans. It's not the China virus. That is a fact. One person started that. I don't like talking proper names, but you guys can figure it out between what I say from now until the ending. Whenever that's going to be. I'll probably just keep it to 15 minutes. And that's just talking about the basics. With the pandemic, most common colds, all of them, basically, are different forms of coronavirus. This one's just novel. Never been seen before on Earth. So Dr. Anthony Fauci never lied about anything. It's because we're finding out more information every day. So, when things change, him and Dr. Deborah Birx, Dr. Andy Fauci, they couldn't really speak the way they wanted to, but they did in very passive ways. Because, unfortunately, it seemed like public health experts were almost working for one person in a way. Remember when Dr. Birx said community spread? She wasn't lying, but she got the short end of the stick anyway. I remember she was on the balcony. And I didn't have to look up any of this, by the way. This is all off the top of my head. So it's not the China virus, it's the coronavirus. It could have originated right here in the United States. So does that have to make it the United States virus? It's a pandemic for a reason, global. WHO called it a little late. But who am I to put on the blame? Because China even tried covering it up. But the WHO had China involved as executives anyway. But no one's to blame. They should have said something earlier. WHO knew about it. But no one's to blame. CDC, with the best minds on earth, they were even having to speak. And it sounded like it was political. But they didn't mean it to be. But the new CDC director, that's all I got to say. She says the truth. I didn't even know she was until a few days ago. But I saw her in the background. But everyone had to kind of not talk so loud when it came to the coronavirus. Because unfortunately, that was his biggest downfall. And guess what? When he shut off air traffic control to China, they already had it under control. We didn't get seeded from China, by the way. We were seeded from Europe. But it's a pandemic. We got to work together. Vaccinations are number 1. I added number 3 and put number 3 to 4 like a few months ago. And when it comes to vaccinations, just roll up your sleeve. I even said it 3 months ago. Phlebotomists, RNs, doctors, get the cars lined up and put that vaccination in your arm. Some people don't believe in it. But if you can believe me one time, that's how we get back to normal. With the economy, infrastructure, education. Look at Boston. They lead in all of that. Marty Walsh, that was a good hire. Big Dig, largest construction site, most expensive ever, right here in Boston. Forgot, got to represent the sports since 2001. I got to see all 4 of my major sports teams win it. Soccer's next. That's the only sport I never played on a team, by the way. Was soccer, the biggest sport in the world. I respect their footwork. But anyways, I didn't play hockey, but I played roller hockey in Saudi Arabia. Just ask Sean McNeil. That was the first friend when I came here to the States. Just ask Sean Davis. He's a Navy SEAL. But it was how I was raised. Even though I grew up in Saudi Arabia 12 years. It made me open up my eyes to another realization. I respected their religion, praying 5 times a day, facing east towards Mecca. It says it in the Constitution. It doesn't matter what faith you believe in or no faith. But really, some people don't believe in vaccinations. It's time to do some research. You should Google it on your Apple device. And if you don't believe me, maybe order some masks from Amazon. You know why? They're global. It's Prime. Seriously. I'm not talking about all the companies that I believe in, but those are the 3. You just have to read the right article, because some people might be some conspiracy theorists in a way, or maybe it's a hoax, or it was perfect, or nothing was done wrong, and he knew about it. Just ask Bob Woodward, February 6th. I don't want to get into it. Maybe it's Robert Mueller, unredacted. Ask Barr. Doesn't matter. What about Saudi Arabia and that deal? Was it like $326 billion? They didn't get what they asked for, or actually what they told they were going to get? Or was it a business transaction with him and Pompeo? I don't know. Just sounds good to me. I don't talk politics. I'm in my own house. Politics and religion. But you got to respect everything. Other people's faiths and beliefs. No matter who they are, even if you don't agree with certain things. But no faith is wrong. No religion is wrong. Not believing in one, there's nothing wrong with that as well. But let's get back into the coronavirus. So number 1, the most important thing, vaccinations. But don't forget, let's go all the way back to the beginning. Testing. Remember that? People didn't believe in it. Some people, the scientists did. Some people were starting not to believe in science. Remember? Inject disinfectant. Who said that? That was unbelievable, because it was coming from the top. And his voice is loud. So both parties believed in it. But one party more. Doesn't matter. Most of my family are Republicans. I'm an independent, or I think like a Democrat now. But I don't want to get politically motivated. I told you I'm an independent. But one administration, basically one person, made me flip that way because I was always registered independent until as of recently with the last administration. But I didn't even really get into the coronavirus yet. I was just letting you know that testing was flawed from the start. CDC had false negatives. But it doesn't even matter right now because we can do it all together. We're America, greatest nation on earth. I apologize to the rest of the world for America not stepping it up. I don't know. Maybe he didn't think it was as bad as he knew it was going to be back in late November, December, the year prior. His economic advisor told him this was going to be the biggest challenge in his presidency. But I think he was still caught up in the impeachment. That phone call, by the way, was not perfect. But Yovanovitch and Colonel, I want to restore their names too. Just like Lewis and John McCain. Those are just a few. We can't involve or forget about Hillary. Remember, the most powerful women, they were always losers. That's what he said anyway. But I'm not talking about a particular person, unless you think I am. Maybe you could think of figuratively who I'm talking about. Because I still respect him. He was my president. I even told my dad after 8 months he was going to move to Russia after he loses that last election. And there was no voter fraud, by the way. I think he won one case, I think in Pennsylvania, by technicality. With the technicality. But it doesn't matter. Look how much he's spending on lawyers. But I'm not getting involved. I don't know why I keep going back to that. Because he ran on division and divisiveness. He ripped America apart. You know, he said 20,000 lies of misleading statements that was only told on one news station. Have you ever heard him say the word fake news? Oh yeah, that's right. He was it, and a station was airing it. Just look at Republicans, where they got their information, compared to Democrats, where it's scattered. But it's not the Republicans' fault for believing it. Even Democrats fell for a lot of it. Because when he talks, he's aired on every station. But facts matter. Truth matters. They would call out bullshit. Yeah. If you ask everyone that watches Fox, they'll say fuck CNN. That just goes to tell you one thing. CNN was telling the truth the whole time, but people don't want to listen. I know you guys probably don't believe me. I'm talking about red, but I don't talk blue. It's purple. Anyways, let's get to number 1 again. Vaccinations. Number 2. That's wearing a mask. It's almost effective. It's almost as effective if you wear it correctly. You don't have KN95s. But with these new variants, you need more filters, by the way. More layers, I should say. Because they're more deadly and highly contagious. More than the first one that entered here, by the way. So, when you wear a mask, the word airborne diminishes greatly. Maybe you can look it up, what the word airborne means. But don't freak out. It's called vaccinate, wear a mask. And this is where I put number 3 into number 4 a few months ago. Coughing, sneezing, and yawning in your elbow is more effective than washing hands with hot soapy water, because a lot of people don't want to, and the key word is hot. It'll kill the coronavirus, except like extremophiles, but you don't got to worry about that anyway. I remember that in microbiology. But since this is a respiratory virus, since I don't have it up here, I don't know. You might think something different. But really, I'm telling you, coughing, sneezing, and yawning in your elbow is way more effective than washing your hands with hot soapy water, keyword hot, because respiratory. Because if you're coughing, sneezing in your elbow every time, now it's not in your hands touching doorknobs or going on a subway system, like in big cities. Maybe you'll rub your eye or the nose the wrong way, mucous membrane. You can get it that way. But washing hands with hot soapy water is just as important as coughing, sneezing, and yawning in your elbow. I had that one myself. I haven't seen any research. I haven't even looked up any research. I just know it is when people start looking into it. Because I have Albert Einstein-like thoughts. I think outside the box. But people don't know me for who I am because no one's ever asked me any questions or listened to me to know that I'm even an intelligent person. Anyways, we all know what 5 and 6 are. That is, outdoors much better than indoors. That's number 6. And number 5 is staying 6 feet away with a mask on. And we got new variants anyway. It's not to scare anyone. Just to let you know the pandemic rules 101. And if you don't believe me, you might not see any research on number 3. But I'm telling you, all the rest, 1 through 5. Remember the coronavirus task force guidelines way back in the beginning? Just look at Massachusetts. Republican governor, liberal state. We vote that way. We need each other. The left needs the right. Even the far. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. It matters that we're all American citizens. And we vote that way. It's just like a great game. Did you lose or did you win? Because I never lost a game in my entire life. Because I said congratulations to the other side. So it's just to make you think that way. Because it's like Ted Kennedy and John McCain reaching across the aisle. It seemed like forever ago. But it was literally a little more than 4.5 years ago. But I think, again, I don't want to bring politics into it. But I know what I see. I heard everything. It doesn't even matter. There's 2 Republican parties. The Republican Party and the Donald Trump Party. A lot of true great conservatives that spoke out. Even generals at the top. They did as well. But I'm going to get to my last thing so I can stop talking. But it has to do with my theory on how the coronavirus came aboard. Because the best scientist on earth, Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, with neurology, nervous system, my synapse process, hardwired, circuited into my fissures. But really, I'm firm and true to my beliefs. I stay grounded. I think positive, not negative. It's current. Anyways, I just wanted to throw that in there because right off the tip of my tongue, I know how to talk to everyone. I'm from Lowell, the most diverse high school in New England. You included faith and religion, incorporated into that, probably in the United States when I went to high school anyway. So I know everyone in all different backgrounds because I have friends that are in every single race. Basically, anyway. I'm talking about major regions. But I don't want to get involved with that. I just want to let you know how my theory, how it came, the coronavirus came. I think it skipped an intermediate host. Like it went from bat to another animal, then mutated again to humans. That's what Dr. Anthony Fauci said to me. But really, who knows? I'm going to let you know how I think it happened. Because you can't get mad at China. Because there's a lot of people. So when they eat different things, like the wet markets, like different animals that you'd see in the wild, they'll eat them, but you can't get mad at that. You have to respect culture, religion, and how people are raised. But no one's to blame but everyone. Unfortunately, the White House was speaking out about top public health experts. Should have been. But I think they're going to be talking tonight at 8 o'clock. I wanted to see that because they're probably going to say everything. Unfortunately, you're working for someone which had control over him, or he just maybe say a few words. But it doesn't matter. This is how I think it came about. So, when people were collecting bats, because in China, there's big ones, by the way. But let's think about a vampire bat, for instance. They have hypodermic needle fangs with anticoagulant in their saliva, so they can keep slurping. But this wasn't a vampire bat. But I just want to let you know that some of these could have been big bats. They could have been in caves, stalagmites, stalactites. You know, looks like they're growing both ways. But maybe it was filtration. It could have been guano. That could be respiratory. That's just one of 3 ways that I'm going to explain how it could have came about. So maybe it was with the guano. Living pathogens, it could be respiratory. They're in a cave, not too much filtration. Or number 2, what I think it could possibly be, which means it went from bat to human. Or one of the handlers was trying to catch a bat. First reaction wants to bite back. So maybe it went from saliva to bloodstream. Maybe. Or the bats were screaming. It was respiratory droplets that came out of the bat in a cave with no ventilation. Or depends where they caught them. Probably put them on a stick because they were alive when they got there. So the last thing I could say, even though I already said 3, is there's a 4th thing. And that could be that they had him in his car, maybe tied to a stick, hanging upside down, and no ventilation in the car. The bats could have been breathing respiratory, and it went straight from bat to human. It was just a new variant, novel, which means never been seen before on Earth. This coronavirus, because we've already had the coronavirus, a bunch of different kinds, many times in our life. If you had a cold, that's a coronavirus most of the time. So again, you get vaccinated, even for your flus every year. They keep the most common strains out. But you know what? Some things are still resistant. This new variants, we need to get vaccinated now, just in case there's a new variant that comes out that's vaccine resistant. But that's what all I have to say right now. You guys are probably going to watch this because I'm going to try to post this because I've never even taken a video to post something. This is my first time for a shot. And I just set up my phone like an hour ago. But anyways, I hope you listen. I'm just saying a few words of advice. I'm not a top public health expert, but I'm pretty sure they would all agree with me. So I gotta say thank you.